Well, my name is Jeremy Williams with Red Hawk Coaching, and I have the opportunity today to interview one of my coaching clients, Carol Trauthwein, with Northwoods Transaction Management. Good afternoon, Carol.
Hi, Jeremy.
And I just wanted to get you and I together today to talk a little bit about your business, because I think there's a great opportunity for agents out there, especially agents that want to grow their business, to utilize your services to be able to go out and do more. So we'll talk about leverage here in a little bit. But let's start, Carol. Tell me a little bit about yourself and why did you get into the transaction management business?
My career up till about 5 years ago was always in an accounting bookkeeping capacity. So I am that person that is very good and loves details. I also like to be behind a computer. I like to work. I can work in a office setting, but I do like to work, just kind of focus on my stuff in front of me. So at one point I did have a realtor friend who was busy, and she said, this would be a really good thing for you. I think you'd enjoy it, but more importantly, I really need some help right now. Would you jump in and help me with the deals? So
isn't it funny how that works? A lot of times, we get asked to do something because they need help.
Yes. And I loved it. I mean, it was just like, ah! So I started taking some classes, talking to some people, reaching out to a couple of realtor friends and said, let me be your guinea pig. I want to learn all there is about this business, because I knew from the get-go that there would be different software applications, different types of brokerages would use different back office systems and what have you. And I thought I had to know them all to venture out. So I did it very part-time for at least a year or so, because I thought I had to know everything before I could reach out to potential clients confidently. And at some point, someone just told me to jump in, and I did. And I knew enough that I was able to learn as I went. And so for a couple of years, I just worked with individual agents and mostly worked with Keller Williams agents, still do mostly work with Keller Williams agents. And I had the opportunity to begin working with my first team of agents, which I started with some trepidation. And now it's kind of, I don't know if it's a 50-50 split. I probably actually do work with more teams than individuals, but I do work with both. And I just, it's something about checkoff lists that really is something that I kind of, my nature just goes to. And the satisfaction in helping not only my client, but their clients get from point A to point B, which is closing successfully and in such a manner that I can contribute in the best way to keep it as stress-free and smooth as possible. There's a lot of satisfaction for me personally with each transaction by doing that.
Yeah, and Carol, I know that you had mentioned you work a lot with Keller Williams agents, but I know you work with all different types of agents, and not even just agents in Texas. You're based out of Texas, yet you've got clients all over the country. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's a learning experience. Every state's different. So I was a little bit afraid to move out of Texas, because I know the Texas contracts, real well, and the disclosures and what have you. I work with Florida agents. I've worked with several different states, but mainly my base is mainly Texas, but I also work with Florida agents, Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., and some Pennsylvania. And it's just, it's a learning curve that it's my responsibility when I work with an agent from whichever state is to learn how their contracts read and their disclosures, their contingencies. But as far as the process, it's the same, basically, just with, just little different tweaks. So my process is basically the same no matter what state it is.
Right. So if you're in any of those states that you just mentioned, you need to look Carol up and give her a call today. Her number is going to be posted here at the bottom of the video. So, Carol, what is it? I know we've talked about this just one-on-one. What makes you passionate about working with some of these realtors? Because working with realtors is not always the easiest thing.
No, realtors work 24/7. The serious builds, ones, and which are the ones I work with. And my goal when I start working with them is to take pressure off and things off their plate, take pressure off them, stress away from them. And as we go through the first couple contracts, the orientation period for us, each agent is different. So I have to, learn how to adapt to the best way to work with them. And I am passionate about allowing them to leverage their business by giving them more time to spend with their clients. It's not that I'm not a people person, but I'm the nerd behind the scenes. And they're realtors, as we know, they're people persons. And, that gives them more time to concentrate on their clients. So I'm very passionate about helping them see that and be able to do that. And then the other part of that is giving them more free time so that they're not with their clients all day and going home and sitting at their computer from 8 to midnight every night when their family is in another room. And, that work-life balance is so important to all of us. So that's always something I'm focused on, and reminding my agents to take advantage of that free time to have downtime so it refreshes them so they can go back the next day and give their attention totally to their clients.
And when I'm talking to agents and I'm coaching them, there's a lot of models out there that say the first hire you should make is an assistant. And I don't think that's right. I think the first hire you should make is the transaction coordinator. Just because, like you said, it leverages that piece of the business off, the part that really doesn't make any money for the agent, right? And allows them to go out and focus on those activities that are dollar productive activities, meeting with more clients,
Yes.
Getting them under agreements, getting them to the closing table, while behind the scenes you're making the magic happen, right? And you say you're not a people person, and I think there's if you look at the disc wheel, if you're familiar with the behavioral disc, you're probably more of an SC. So the great thing about that is you're also a person that pays a lot of attention to detail. And when we're working in transactions, the details, and this, is often overlooked by the agent because the agent's wired on the other side. A lot of times they're D's or I's or I's or S's, where they're very fast moving. They're talking to people a lot of times, and they're not paying attention to some of that stuff that's on the back end, which comes back and bites them in the butt. And so, having that transaction coordinator behind the scenes, you're taking so much off of their plate so they can go grow their business and also have that balance in their life that they're looking for.
Yes. And that's, I make sure that they get to closing on time. After we do a couple transactions together, each of my agents, then I can see them, there's a trust issue in the beginning of letting go, but as we work through transactions together and then review the first couple transactions, what did I do that, you would have liked me to have done differently? What did I do that you really like and we want to incorporate into everything? Even though my system's the same, like I said, they work differently, they're different personalities. So to make their life easier, I have to do some adapting to that. And as they work with me, and it does take a couple transactions or so, you can see the trust issue has increased. And, my agents that I've worked with, after 4 or 5 transactions, they just know I'm going to come to them with a problem. They are the agent. If there's a problem, I need to apprise them of that immediately. But no news is good news. And they know if they don't hear from me, everything is being taken care of. And they will, all their deadlines are met. They're not going to miss a date. And they'll be at closing when they're supposed to be at closing. And they just have to show up with a smile and take care of their clients. And, that's just it's a great privilege for me to be able to do that, but it's also a great gift for them to be able to concentrate on growing their business. I totally agree. Transaction coordinator first, and then assistant if you're building your business, because I can take that immediate stuff off that, an admin. If they hire admin first, they're going to bog them down with transaction coordination stuff, and they're not going to be accomplishing the things that they should be accomplishing for the agent. It's a totally different role.
What do you say to that agent? They're brand new to the business, and they're like, "Well, I've got plenty of time. It's my first transaction." Do you think they still need a transaction coordinator?
Definitely. Go grow your business. Go do what's good for do what you do good. Statistically, it takes anywhere between 15 and 20 hours for an agent to do all the things that I do for them for my fee. So start multiplying that, how much that takes out of your work week. And it's a business decision. It pays for itself quickly if they really do the math, because if they can be out there marketing themselves and growing their business, a couple transactions and you've paid for me for the year, basically, for them. And that's it. I know new agents think they have to know everything, and yes, they should have an overall, but they need to know the laws, those kind of things with a transaction. They don't need to keep track of their calendar and know what needs to be signed what date. They need to know the nuts and bolts of how a contract reads, but they don't need to manage all that paperwork. And even in this computer society, I don't see us ever getting away from all the paperwork. It's legal documents that have to be taken care of to protect the property. So
yeah, even if they're being done online, they still don't need to spend all that time putting everything together when you could do that in the background and leverage some of that off. When I'm talking with agents and they're a lot of times, and you talked about it a little bit, they don't want to give it up necessarily because there's that issue of I want to have control over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I encourage those people that are real estate agents today, you've got to let go of some of this stuff. And that's the only way you're going to grow. Like Carol mentioned, know enough to be dangerous, yet, and know enough so that you can inspect what you expect. But you don't need to be in the midst of all that because it's not necessarily dollar productive activity for you. Hire a transaction coordinator, get rid of that stuff so you can go focus on growing your business. I know you've got a certification with Dotloop. Is that correct?
I'm a Dotloop certified trainer. I love Dotloop. There's people probably watching this that are moaning, but I think it's a wonderful piece of transaction management software. And yes, it is what I'm familiar with. But for Keller Williams agents, that's a big plus that I know the Dotloop system so well. But as my business is growing, I don't do everything in Dotloop anymore because everybody doesn't use it. I used to create loops for everybody, no matter what brokerage you were with. I'm not doing that now. I do also use some transaction coordination specific software. It's called TC Workflow, and it's specifically for transaction coordinators. And that has kind of like that's kind of put Dotloop on steroids, and I've been transitioning to that. I still will use Dotloop, but I just is just a software that I trained on first, and I really like it. But again, for Keller Williams and or other agents that use Dotloop, that certainly has been a plus that, I know the ins and outs of Dotloop more than most people do and what it can do and what have you.
Yeah, I'm no longer affiliated with that brokerage, but I know going through and having sat in some of those training classes, like my mind would start wandering off. Yeah. And it'd be so much easier just to turn it over to somebody who knows exactly what they're doing within it, knowing just enough, to take care of as the realtor's responsibility, just knowing that part of it, and then just letting go of the rest of it. So if somebody's looking for a transaction coordinator and to help them in their business, what's the best way to connect with you?
At this time, I would say just through my phone, 281-793-4380. I do have a business Facebook page as well. It's Northwoods Transaction Management. You can find me there, or Carol Trauthwein. You can find me through there for Northwoods. I will say I'm having my website redesigned, and that should be up in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot going on with real estate right now, and so it's hard to find the time to work on my business, but I know as people are trying to find me, I need to make that easier. I would like to also say the association, there is a new National Association of Transaction Coordinators, NATC, and actually we were just represented at the big Keller Williams family reunion. And the purpose, I'm one of the original 100 members, and it's nationwide. And the purpose of that is to grow our industry, but in such a way that we are enhancing what we offer to our realtor clients. And, you know, just stay tuned for that. And it's going to be, well, I'm certified through them. They had a certification process for it. So I'm a certified transaction coordinator, but it's going to be important to, when you are looking for a transaction coordinator, I do urge you to look for somebody who is a member of that organization. We're going to stay on the cutting edge with education and just a lot of different really great things that we're going to be able to do for our agents and our brokerages.
Well, I think it's one of those things where you can elevate the standards and
exactly.
the service and the professionalism of a organization you would call it, that's not really that old, right? Transaction coordination hasn't been around for a long time, but as real estate's evolved and as you've had teams grow and the speed of the transaction, it's just become a necessary part of building a business.
And also the other part of that is the compliance piece of your transaction. And I pride myself on, you know, being like your compliance officer before it goes to your compliance department, because every compliance department at every brokerage runs things a little bit differently. The good ones are very cut and dry, and this is what you need, and you don't get paid unless you meet compliance. The other ones are a little bit looser. However, by law, they all are under that same umbrella. And if you have a loose compliance department and they get audited 2 years from now, I guarantee you they may not have looked at your file, your compliance department, but that is one of my guarantees. When we're finished with that file, it is in compliance legally.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get dinged a couple of years later. Your brokerage might, if they're not on top of things, but your file's not going to get dinged.
Yeah, I look at larger brokerages, you know, 3, 4, 5, 1,000 people in the brokerage under one license.
Yes.
They're not looking at every single file in detail. And so to have that extra assurance that your file, if it ever does get pulled, that it's in compliance with everything that was required at the time. And I think that's a
important.
Difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's, you know, I pride myself on that, and that's not an expectation. It's a requirement of my service to you, is that your file is totally in compliance. Whatever I have to do, if something's missing, I will track that down to put your file in compliance as we close things out. So again, I'm looking out for my client, who is the realtor.
So tell me a little bit. I know you're the face of the team. You do have other individuals that are helping you.
Well, that's still transitioning. I do have, actually, there are 2 assistants at this point in time. We're taking the transition from assistant to transaction coordinator very slowly and very seriously. And we've kind of evolved to slow it down through the National Association of Transaction Coordinators, just things I've plugged into with them. my assistants actually came to that conclusion after a seminar we went to with them, and they said, we need to be your assistant for longer than we had planned to be, because there's so much to learn about transaction coordinating, and we want to do this right. So what that has done is freed me up to work on compliance, but also to gear up for growing our business. And as we're going into real estate seasonal, it's helped us gear up to be really ready for this season, which comes upon you like, one day you wake up and it's here.
It's here, yeah.
And, yeah. And so last year it scared me going into season and because I felt like it was just here and I did not realize how fast it comes and how big it is. But I'm excited about this season because we're ready, and my assistants are awesome. They're I always tell them the students are passing the teacher quickly, and it'll give my company more longevity than it probably would have been by growing it internally like I am.
One thing I know you've talked about, and I know it's not officially out there, is that you're starting to add the additional service of listing coordination. Share a little bit about that, and where do you see that on the horizon?
Well, again, for busy teams and or busy just single agents, it seems like I see things come. They come in droves for my agents, and all of a sudden they might have 5 or 6 listings. At this point in time, I'm putting together what that offering is, and today it looks like this, that I will compile and prepare your pre-listing folder for your client. And when we get that information, I will enter all of that into the MLS system. I will order your signs. I'll order your photographer. Trying to think what else is. And I'll coordinate that all that stuff's done and move it towards an active listing from like an incomplete listing, they would call it, to an active listing. Because I work remotely, I'm not going to be that person, or I'm not going to be offering that service that my team will go put your sign up or my team will place your Supra. It's important to me. I work with mostly local realtors, but it's important to me to work remotely and work behind the scenes getting things done. But if you want me to hire somebody to do that, I'll take care of that as well. So, that's about, it may grow from there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But right now, that's what we're looking at offering.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress, and something that your current clients or future clients can look forward to on the horizon is you're always one of the things I like about you, Carol, in our time coaching together is just your desire for growth, and also growth in the right way, not growing it too fast, and because what you do is very important and it's very detail oriented, and it's a representation of your client, because you're kind of the go-between between the customer and the realtor.
Yes.
And so it's really important, the things that you're doing, because it represents the team as well. And so you're really, what you truly are is a extension of the team. You are part of the team. And, but I like the idea that you're always growing. You're always looking for new opportunities. You're always looking to solve a problem. And I think good business owners are problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go run a business and deliver a service. You have to deliver a service that addresses a problem. And I think you're really good at that. And even within what you're doing, you're constantly looking for ways to improve it. And you're talking with your clients, which are your realtors, and saying, hey, what are the things that you're needing? How do we make this better than it was yesterday? And I commend you for that. Now, we coach together, so I'm going to ask a selfish question. How has coaching helped you in your business?
We've only coached together a couple months, I think, haven't we? Maybe we're in our 3rd month.
Probably 3rd month, yeah.
as y'all can see, I'm a seasoned person here. I've been working a long time. But you've helped me really define my vision of my company for like, say, the next 5 years. That's my 5-year plan right now we're working on. And because I'm following, you lay things out with how you think I should be putting things in place per our conversations. And as you know, the times I've done that, which is most of the time, my business is growing exponentially right now. And you've given me like the confidence I needed. I needed the feedback from somebody about the things I'm doing right and the things I should not be doing that are time suckers and not really working to my advantage or my clients' advantages. You've honed in on how important my clients are to me. And so your approach has been helping me kind of expand on that instead of, I'm loving on, you're teaching me how to love on my clients more and give up the stuff that is just, they don't need, So it's just amazing how much I've been able to grow in my business in the last 2.5, 3 months than what I had done almost for 5 years previously.
I appreciate that. And I think one of the reasons why is you're receptive. There's a lot of people that will come into my world to coach and they're not receptive, and that's okay too. Yet you've taken the things, and I think what makes coaching really work is going and being a person of action. And Carol, I see you being that person. I give you 100% backing. If somebody is looking for a transaction coordinator, go hire one that has a growth mindset like Carol. Mm-hmm. Hire somebody that's always looking to solve problems. Hire somebody that truly loves her clients. That's who Carol is, and I appreciate the time that we get to spend together each week, diving deeper into your business and looking for ways to improve it.
And that's what you're really good at is, everybody isn't like me. You have a lot of different personality types, I'm sure, in the people you coach. But that fact that you've been able to hone in on what satisfies me, what I'm looking for in my business, where I need to go. We get pretty personal about like our business goals and things like that. And how you've been able to figure me out in such a way that I haven't found myself, that I'm able now to really focus in on this growth thing with, like I said, with confidence. And I'm so excited to see where, the next several months take us. But that's really a gift for you as a coach to be able to hone in on what makes me tick and what will work for me versus what will work for someone else.
Yeah, that's, somebody asked me, what's my superpower? And my superpower is to be able to see things that others can't see, maybe about themselves.
Yes.
To look into the blind spots, and we all have them. I have a coach too, and I get called out on my blind spots, and it's something that I'm working on as well. Yet that I think is my gift, and I love being able to share that with others and help others. Well, Carol, I appreciate your time today. It's awesome to be able to share this time with you, and for those that are watching, to look at how to leverage and gain leverage in your business. It shouldn't even be a question. Hire a transaction coordinator. Even if you don't hire Carol. But if you don't, go find a transaction coordinator. It's just a dumb business move not to. And hire that person, get the leverage so you can go out and do what you do really well, and that's to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So again, Carol, thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you, and I know you're going to probably get some business out of this.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you too, more than you know.
All right, take care.